Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Today we're bringing back a type of video that I've done quite a few times in the past. Maybe not quite a few times, but a few times, especially in around 2022, where I want to pick a topic and discuss it, really go into details, and also kind of shed light on some of my thoughts in the game. Today specifically, I want to talk about the School of Myth, because Myth is a school that I very much enjoy, and if you watch like my last two ranking school videos, you know I do like Myth. It's one of my favorite schools to play. But today I really want to get into the topic of how I think KingsIsle's really failed to make Myth an appealing choice at all, and almost every aspect of Myth fails in some way. But before we get into that, make sure to drop a like, hit the sub button. Just cross 12k subs, that's pretty cool. Also make sure to hit the join button if you want to. Gives me a little bit extra money. Why not? It's only $5. If not, that's fine too. Just continue watching. But now that that's all out of the way, let's get into it. Now, Myth as a school. Let's start off by what fundamentally is Myth supposed to be as a school. Myth is a school that's designed to be a mid-damage school. So it has, I would say, it's solid middle of the pack. It's not as good as Storm or even Fire later on, but it's certainly better than schools like Ice and Life. On top of that, Myth is supposed to have, you can kind of see middle of the road accuracy here, 80%. It's supposed to be a kind of middle resistance school, lower health. You get the gist. Basically, it's supposed to be similar to Fire, except the Spirit School. Now, every school has kind of a draw to them. They have a specific feature of them that draws them and differentiates them from the other school. So if I were to list them real quick, Storm has the highest base damage in the game by a long shot. Fire has damage over times. Ice has shields. Life has heals. Balance has a bunch of different blades. Death has healbacks. And Myth kind of has two that I would say are its main draws. The first being minions, and the second being stuns. Myth specifically gets a big boost on these. Everyone gets a minion, but Myth gets many minions. They have, I probably can't count them all, but I don't even know if I have them all, but I know I have at least 3 summon spells, and I'm sure there are many more in the game that I haven't gotten because my Myth, I'm too lazy to quest and get school spells on. On top of that, Myth has stunning, and I would say KingsIsle designed the school with stunning in mind. I would say the only school that really has as many stuns or close to it as Myth would be Fire, but Myth specifically has a unique draw where it can stun for multiple rounds. For example, Medusa will do that 700 damage and then stun for 2 rounds. Basilisk does that damage over time and then it'll stun for 3 rounds, I think that's how it works. Basilisk might be 1 round. It might not be 3. I'm not sure. My point is, these are the 2 main draws of Myth. And when KingsIsle designed Myth as a school, they intended it to be the minion school. They intended it to be the school that you potentially draw out the fight by stunning the enemy with your spells, and then you use your minions to boost you or defeat the enemy. Now that I've given the overview of Myth, let's get into the major problems with this school and really why it falls apart at the seams. So first off, let's talk about the minion aspect because that is the main aspect. Minions in this game absolutely suck. They're not very useful. The only thing that they're really good for is drawing aggro away from you, the wizard. And I would say that this is only really good in early worlds, like Wizard City Crocotopia at most. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use a minion post Crocotopia because they're just not useful. Different minions have different aspects to them. Some do more damage, some will use traps more, some will use blades more. Obviously, some minions are even designed to heal, and Myth has an extra bonus where you can like sacrifice your minions and gain things out of them. So it's designed in a way that Myth is supposed to use these minions to do different and beneficial things for them, right? Now, I've already said that they're useless, but to tack on further, realistically, they're not going to do what you want. There's no point in summoning a minion when in this game, the optimal strategy, and not even just optimal, but like the strategy that almost everyone uses is feints. And specifically traps of your schools or blades of your school, it's not going to be useful when you have a minion there that constantly takes your traps, especially feints. It's very annoying when you put up a feint, you even put up a double feint, and then a minion just takes it. And let's be honest, most of the time you have a minion, they're going to take it. Now, the second problem with Myth and its main draw is stuns. Stuns in this game are absolutely useless. If you don't know, I tested this out before. I need to find the spreadsheet, or I can make a video on it at some point, I think. But I looked at it, and in this game, it's every single enemy in this game currently, every single boss enemy from Wizard City all the way up to Dragonspire, and then for some reason I think Dragonspire has a few that aren't, and then in Celestia onwards, you can't stun an enemy. They're all stun immune. So let me posit the question, KingsL, this one's to you. Why would you add a feature in this game that is completely useless? I don't know if it's supposed to be a PvP thing, but if it is, why? Why would you make one of the draws of this school be stunning, specifically like stunning for 2 rounds? That's incredibly useful. I can understand the exceptions of endgame bosses. Like, I get not walking up to Grandfather Spider, hitting him with Medusa, and him being stunned 2 rounds. That makes sense. Why is random schmuck number 3 from Cave of Solitude resisting my stuns completely to the point where I can't stun him? It makes spells that stun almost pointless to use unless they do mass amounts of damage, and most don't really do that. I would say one major problem this game has, and this is a video topic in of itself, one problem this game has is that there's no incentive to use spells besides like 4-pip AoE, 7-pip AoE, and things like stun resist really don't lend well to this, because like, why would I use a spell that has a stun if the enemy's just gonna stun resist anyway? So now I've brought up the major problems with Myth, because those are the major problems. How would I fix it? Well, first off, with minions, there is a very, very simple fix. First off, the main one and the biggest one, a lot of people have mentioned this before, make it so you can control your minions. There's literally zero reason why this isn't in the game already, besides maybe coding limitations, and realistically, a feature that should already be in the game, you should find a way beyond the coding limitations. Minions right now are useless, but if they made it so that you could control the minion, and you made it so that they didn't take the feints that you're using, or you made it so that they can blade you, it would be worth using them, which in this game, any spell being used that isn't a 4-pip AoE or a 7-pip AoE is a breath of fresh air. Number 2, if they really don't want to do this, please make it so that there's some kind of AI control. Like, for example, if you've seen in like Star Wars The Old Republic, I think WoW might also have something like this. I know a lot of MMOs have something like this, where you can set your companions or your minions to a specific attack pattern. So for example, you could have it so that the minion has an attack mode, a passive mode, like a heal mode or a support mode, something like that, and then you can click to switch. If you put them in support mode, they can't physically attack, and then boom, all of a sudden this minion is a little bit more useful. Second off, make more powerful minions. And I will say, there is a caveat to this. Monstrology does exist, and you can summon things with Monstrology, and this would kind of go away if they made it so that you can control your minions, but it's not good enough. I would like to see some higher and more interesting minions in the game than currently are. I think Monstrology is good in a way. It's not good. It could be good. It's just that it's not enough. Now for the second aspect, stunning, let's be honest, this is the easiest change in the world. Just remove stun resist from basic mobs in Wizard101. I still have no idea. It's been like this since what? Celestia was released in like 2008? I don't know who coded this. I don't know which designer was like, I'm gonna make it so that stunning is useless. And then I don't know why every designer after that has decided to continue along with that philosophy. But dear God, it is just the worst feeling in the game. Why is it that I can't stun anything? I don't know. Like, I would totally understand if it was endgame bosses like the Rat, the Trident, stuff like that. The last boss of the world, I understand if we can't stun them. But like the War Oni, I'm pretty positive you can't stun him. Meowiarty, why can't you stun him? I don't know. I guess Meowiarty's myth, so maybe he has some kind of elder knowledge that I don't. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Just make it so that you can stun enemies. So to wrap it all up, let's talk about, kind of give an overview of what we talked about today. Myth is a decent school that has some draws to it, specifically in minions and stunning. Minions and stunning, however, kind of suck. So where does this leave Myth? Myth is realistically, at this point in the game, just a decent hitter, and if it wasn't for the fact that this game is stuck in the most stale 4-pip AoE and 7-pip AoE meta, Myth would be completely useless and laughed at. The only reason why Myth is decent in the current meta is because every school is basically blanketed the same, right? 4-pip AoE, 7-pip AoE, faint stack into hitting. Every school has a massive amount of damage at this point in the game. If it wasn't for the fact that King's Isle had made it so that every school is nigh the same, Myth would probably be by far the least picked school, and it might already be the least picked school, but it would be the worst school in the game because everything that it has to offer realistically sucks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know that this is a short one, just kind of talking about a different school, but who knows? Maybe a King's Isle dev will watch this and be like, wait a second, guys, why have we made it so the enemy stun resist? Wait a second, guys, we could make it so that we can control minions in the game. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spitballing ideas here, but like, I think it would work. So anyways, again, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed and drop a sub. If not, that's okay too. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day. Adios.